Let me tell you a truth that most people never hear in their entire lifetime. The difference between an ordinary life and an extraordinary one is not talent, it's not luck, it's not even opportunity. It's consistency. The quiet, invisible force that transforms average people into the strongest, loudest, most unstoppable versions of themselves. And if you feel like you're meant for more, if something inside you whispers that you were not born to stay where you are, then listen closely. Because the law of consistency might be the missing piece you've been searching for your whole life. Most people don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they show up only when they feel like it. They stop when it gets boring. They quit when progress slows down. But extraordinary people, the people who rise, the people who build, the people who inspire, they understand that greatness is not created in one big moment. It's built in thousands of small, boring, unglamorous moments that nobody ever sees. That is the law of consistency. And it's the great equalizer. It doesn't care where you started, how talented you are, or how many times you've failed. It cares only about one thing. Will you show up again tomorrow? Every great story begins with someone who was once overlooked. Someone ordinary. Someone the world didn't expect anything from. But they made a decision to take one small step every single day, even when they didn't feel like it. Even when nobody clapped. Even when the results didn't show. Even when life punched them in the mouth. That's what makes ordinary people extraordinary, the quiet courage to repeat the right actions even when the world gives them every reason to stop. You see, the world loves to talk about overnight success, viral moments, breakthroughs. But nothing is overnight. Every breakthrough has a backstory of relentless repetition. Every success has a foundation of early mornings, late nights, silent practice, unseen effort. Extraordinary lives are built brick by brick, and most of those bricks are laid when no one is watching. Consistency is not glamorous. It's not exciting. It doesn't feel heroic. It feels repetitive. It feels slow. It feels frustrating. But that's exactly why so few people ever become great. Because consistency asks you to trust a process you cannot yet see. It demands discipline when motivation is gone. It demands strength on days you feel weak. It demands focus when results don't show. And it demands patience in a world addicted to speed. But here's the secret: consistency compounds. Slowly, quietly, silently, until suddenly, it becomes undeniable. The gym session you didn't want to do. The book you forced yourself to read. The 10 minutes you showed up when you felt exhausted. The one step you took forward instead of backward. None of these feel like breakthroughs in the moment, but over time, they stack. They build. They multiply. And one day, you look in the mirror and realize, I'm not the same person anymore. That is the magic of consistency. It transforms you without your permission. It strengthens you without your awareness. It shapes you in ways you cannot feel day to day, but you can see clearly in hindsight. And the truth is, you already know what you need to do. The problem isn't knowledge. It's repetition. It's doing what you said you would do long after the excitement disappears. It's showing up after failure, after pain, after disappointment. That's what separates those who dream from those who do. The law of consistency is the law that turns the impossible into the inevitable. Because if you do something long enough, deeply enough, honestly enough, consistently enough, you will break through. You will rise. You will become unstoppable. Not because you're special, but because you refuse to quit. And the world cannot stop a person who refuses to stop showing up. Consistency is not just a habit, it is an identity. Extraordinary people do not ask, how do I stay consistent? They ask, who do I need to become to make consistency a natural part of my life? You see, when consistency becomes who you are, not just what you do, your entire life changes. You stop relying on motivation, because motivation is emotional. But consistency is structural. Motivational people show up when they feel inspired. Consistent people show up because it is simply who they are. And here's the truth. The greatest battles you will ever fight will happen inside your mind. Your feelings will lie to you. Your excuses will deceive you. Your doubts will sabotage you. But consistency is your armor. Consistency is what protects your future from the weaknesses of your present. Even when fear tries to hold you back. Even when laziness whispers in your ear. Even when your past tries to pull you down. Consistency is the force that breaks all of it. Ordinary people who achieve extraordinary things all have one thing in common. They did not wait for the right moment. They created it. They didn't wait for life to get easier. They didn't wait for the perfect plan. They didn't wait for validation, applause, or permission. They just started, and they refused to stop. But here's the part nobody talks about. Consistency is not about doing everything. It's about doing the right things. Small things. Daily things. The kind of things that feel almost insignificant when you're doing them, but become life-changing when you look back. 10 push-ups. 5 minutes of reading. A single page of writing. 1 hour of practice. A small step forward. These small actions are seeds. And extraordinary people plant them every day, even when the soil looks dry. Even when the results are invisible. Even when progress feels slow. Because they understand that growth is happening even when they can't see it. You don't notice a tree growing, but one day, it is taller than everything around it. That is consistency. And let's be honest, some days you won't feel like it. Some days, your mind will try to convince you that skipping one day won't matter. But let me tell you the truth, it does matter. Not because of the progress you lose, but because of the identity you break. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build self-respect. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you lose self-respect. Consistency is the ultimate form of self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation of greatness. People think extraordinary lives are built from massive effort. But they're not. They're built from micro-efforts done repeatedly. Consistency turns effort into identity. Identity turns identity into lifestyle. And lifestyle turns lifestyle into destiny. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to change your whole life today. You just need to win the next 10 minutes. Because consistency unlocks something powerful, momentum. Momentum is the invisible force that takes a small beginning and transforms it into a powerful movement. And once momentum is on your side, even the smallest effort creates massive returns. Extraordinary people are not extraordinary because they are gifted, but because they are consistent enough to unlock momentum. And once momentum takes over, even ordinary effort becomes unstoppable progress. The truth is, you are closer to your extraordinary life than you think. Not because everything will become easier, but because you have the ability to become stronger. Consistency does not promise an easy journey, but it guarantees a meaningful one. And meaning is worth far more than comfort. Every extraordinary person you admire once stood where you stand now, unsure, overwhelmed, doubting, hoping, wishing. But they made a choice. A small choice. A simple choice. A choice to take one step forward instead of backward. And they repeated that choice every day. That is how lives change. That is how greatness is born. That is how ordinary people become extraordinary. Consistency is the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. Between the life you have and the life you deserve. Between potential and power. And it is a bridge that only you can build, step by step, day by day, with actions so small they look meaningless until they aren't. There will be days when you doubt yourself. Days when progress seems invisible. Days when you feel tired, discouraged, or stuck. But remember this, that is part of the process. Nothing great is built without resistance. Diamonds require pressure. Muscles require tension. Success requires struggle. And consistency is what transforms struggle into strength. If you want to become extraordinary, do not chase perfection, chase progress. Progress that is small. Progress that is slow. Progress that is imperfect. Because imperfect progress repeated consistently becomes unstoppable mastery. You don't need to be amazing today. You just need to be a little better than yesterday. And a little better tomorrow. And over time, those small improvements will compound into results that once felt impossible. But here's a truth that will define your destiny. Consistency is a choice. Not a gift. Not a talent. Not a blessing. A choice. A choice to rise instead of rest. To try instead of quit. to act instead of excuse, to believe instead of doubt. The day you realize that consistency is your choice is the day you take control of your future. Extraordinary people are simply ordinary people who chose consistency long enough to unlock the extraordinary within themselves. And that is the miracle of the law of consistency. It makes greatness accessible to anyone willing to earn it. And now the question becomes, are you willing to earn it? Are you willing to show up when it's hard? Are you willing to stay when others quit? Are you willing to bet on yourself every single day? Because if you are, then there is nothing, absolutely nothing, that can stop you. Consistency is not the path to an extraordinary life. Consistency is the extraordinary life. And the world will stand aside for the person who shows up with discipline, patience, and relentless commitment. You are capable of more than you know. You are stronger than you believe. And you are closer than you think. Your extraordinary life is waiting. But it cannot begin until you do. So start today. Start small. Start now. And never stop. Because ordinary people who follow the law of consistency become extraordinary.